So I think we can officially start. Thank you everybody for joining another amazing masterclass. Today we have the one and only His Excellency Luke, the Ambassador and Head of Representation between Fiji and Australia, so we can create more amazing business opportunities, travel experiences, investments, and so much more, because Fiji is such a rich country in so many ways. And I can talk about it from experience, because we've had quite a few Fijian students studying with us. And it's endless, the business opportunities. We always think of Fiji as in like holidays, but there's so much more that we can offer. And we can also learn from your culture, the way you guys respect nature, the way you guys have like maintained the culture. Like, you're so proud of your culture, and it's such a strong culture, and it's got such beautiful values. I've had the most incredible conversation with Fijian women around how they manage the houses and the value and the family lifestyle and everything. So, Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. Could you please share with us a little bit about your journey? How is it that you became an ambassador? At what stage do you just go, okay, I'm going to study this so I can become a leader? And at what was the moment you just go, okay, now I want to be the head of my country so I can create better opportunities between Fiji's and many more countries around the world?
Well, thank you, Paula, and thank you for the invitation to share a little bit about my journey with the Academy of Entrepreneurs. And Bula, and greetings to you and to everyone online today. Real joy to be here with you all, and hope that what I'll share will be inspirational, or at least be an encouragement to some of you. But my journey to becoming a diplomat and becoming an ambassador was never clear from the beginning. Coming from Fiji, as you mentioned, I attended school there, both junior or primary and high school. But my university studies was undertaken here in Australia. I did my undergraduate degree in law and studied for 1 year for postgraduate diploma in legislative drafting in Fiji, but I also undertook postgraduate studies at a university in the United Kingdom. Did I always enjoy school? Not really. There are fun moments, and most of which were outside of classroom, but I always knew it was essential for later career. So I definitely worked hard. And for much of my student life, I would say I did well, and I was a sponsored student, so under scholarship for pretty much my high school and university studies. And thankful for that, because they were the catalyst to my professional career. But did I always know what I wanted to do in life, especially becoming an ambassador? Not really. And so I recall, in fact, in my last year of high school, I knew I wanted to do town planning. And I was going to apply for a scholarship for that, but on the verge of applying for that scholarship, one of my teachers, whom I trusted and looked up to, suggested I do law. And that changed the course of my career. I went to study law. And much later, after 14 years of being a lawyer in Fiji, again, following sound advice of trusted leaders, I became a diplomat, and with postings in New York, and now being here in Canberra as Fiji's primary representative to Australia. And so we're looking to encourage and strengthen that relationship, one of which is promoting tourism. And Fiji is going to be open for travel by the 1st of December. So we're looking forward to having and seeing Australian friends and families visiting Fiji. I'm looking forward to going also when the borders open.
What are the main drivers of the economy in Fiji besides tourism, and what opportunities can we keep our eyes open to create better collaboration between Australia and Fiji?
So Fiji is not so much agriculture, but the primary industries with agriculture being a key aspect of it is a huge economic driver. We have a bit of mining, gold especially, which of course is exported to Australia for processing and value adding before they go out to other parts of the world. Fishing is a huge sector in Fiji. Apart from the service sector, and so at the moment, people with skills in the service industry, hospitality, aged care, and now the labor mobility aspects of it, with a lot of semi-skilled or low-skilled workers coming to Australia to support the agriculture industry here in Australia.
And you've studied in many countries and worked in many countries. What recommendations do you have for future leaders when it comes to doing business with different countries and cultures? Because Fijian culture is so open and warm, and it's all about families and very strong values. How was it that you navigated so well your studies in Australia, the UK, your work in New York? What tips do you have? Because we're lucky to be in Australia, a multicultural country, but it also comes with challenges.
Well, I'd say one of the important skills is just being teachable and being a good listener. Not every skill one needs in life or in leadership can be taught in classroom setting. So I've found that out. I would say 90%, 80% of what I learned in law school, I didn't get to apply in practice. And so you are learning always on the job. Seeking wise counsel, of course, relying on trusted leaders or mentors, allies or friends, but being open to consultation and receiving the input from others who are around you will obviously help in progressing what you seek to achieve in your individual profession. And I know it's worked for me in my current profession, working closely with friends like Danielle of Venezuela and Amarante and other representatives of countries whom I work with, sharing experiences and learning from them, just as they equally would be learning from myself. And so it's been an important aspect. But I suppose the other aspect is being confident, not proud or being or not pride or arrogance or having a know-it-all attitude, but confidence in what we bring to the table and what we offer to others. With humility, knowledge, your experience, your skills, and your culture, which you've mentioned, which is a big part of us in Fiji. And it's one of the few things that's unique to us. And so it provides a unique perspective. I suppose after all, there's only one you. Even if you are a twin, so you have something unique that you're offering to others that are working with you.
I think that's one of the most beautiful learnings that we can have throughout everything that's happened in the last 18 months is realizing how we're all unique. We all have the power to change the world, but we need to collaborate to be able to achieve our goals. And it's really like it's changed a lot. If you look at like the world 20 years ago in the corporate world, all these big companies, and you see most of them haven't survived. Arrogance doesn't lead you anywhere these days. It's all about collaboration, good intentions. And what I love about working, especially on this side, like on the Asian Pacific side, it's about long-term relationships in a win-win situation. So it's all about how can I make Australia and Fiji win just as much so we can get the most out of each other. And I see there's a lot of collaboration in the sense that you start working with a country and then they introduce it to another country because they see the benefit, and you're also working with another country to strengthen. So I think this is something so beautiful. And Luke, you spoke a lot about leaders along the way, from teachers and so forth, and Daniel. What are the main leaders besides teachers and family that have like inspired you to develop these strong leadership skills, but with humbleness and kindness towards environment, other communities and other countries? So who has been your biggest inspiration over the years?
Yeah, as you mentioned, over the years, I suppose there's several. It's hard to pick one person out of the many that are there. You mentioned family. So apart from parents and wife, who are our biggest inspirations, because they give us the grounding that we need and the much needed balance for studies or career choices, without which we could easily become big-headed and be derailed. But my career, I suppose, there have been three close friends who are people of faith. They are church ministers, and they've been my mentors, and who have been a big part of the inspiration for me. I take counsel from them. And I understand in talking with them that work is not always about technical skills, as important as it is. But it's the package of values that one brings and that makes up the person that we are as a professional, that really adds to the quality and the contribution that we bring to our profession.
Luke, we'd love to learn about your experience of working at the United Nations over in New York, because when I mentioned to a few of the legends at Entrepreneurs that you had worked there, and I can see Kiara smiling, everyone's just like, oh, wow, because it's the leading organization in the world, and it's such an inspiration, so empowering. It's driving me. A lot of the changes that we have at the moment are coming from them. So what was your experience? How did you get the job? What was the biggest lessons and learnings, and what recommendations do you have for all of our legends that are building socially responsible businesses, that we know that at some stage they will want to get a position in the United Nations to be able to contribute as well?
Well, I will share my experience. I know for me it was both exciting, but challenging. I know I had high expectations and a lot of anticipation going to New York, but I realized that the training that I went through, the experience of working as a lawyer, were valuable in preparing me for that role. But more importantly, I think it was just the personal connections with people and the importance of relationship that really provided the grounding for a successful career at the United Nations. Because after all, at the end of the day, it comes down to people interacting and learning to trust one another and depend and rely on what the others are saying, so that you can work and build an environment of collaboration, which then produces what really is the mandate for the United Nations to work. And so that has been a really key catalyst for me working at the United Nations. Did I go through and experience what I expected? Not really. I suppose for me, it was a place of influence and power. But having gone through it, I realized it comes down to the personality of people and different personalities. But it's learning how to work with everybody. And learning to compromise and agreeing to disagree, but working together going forward, because people have different views and different opinions. And so it's that sociable quality, I suppose, that really is a big part of being successful and working effectively within the United Nations Forum. And that's both for those who are staff at the UN and those who are representing their countries, and we all have a job to do. And I know for me the experience was as enriching. They say that the United Nations is one of the best universities you can ever go to in the world, and it's true. It's true. So if you are fortunate enough to be deployed as a diplomat to the United Nations, it's a fantastic learning place. I know I didn't train to be a diplomat, and that's a place where I learned from Venezuelans, Argentinians, the Brazilians, people who are the top of the cream of their crop. And so I was fortunate to be there.
And what recommendations do you give? So the world has gone through a lot of change, and like sometimes I'm scrolling through Instagram and TikTok, and you see people with like 20 million followers and reaching 120,000 views in a second that they posted. What recommendations do you have for students that want to become leaders, not just in the government? Because these days the reality is that anyone can be a leader just through one specific platform. Like I've got friends that are very famous on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and others such as yourself and Daniel at a government level. What makes a great leader, and what recommendations do you have besides being kind, listening, collaborating? What recommendations do you have for students that want to be a leader like you guys, but on this new trend of most leaders are starting in the digital space before they even make it to university, right?
Are you talking to me, Paula?
Both of you guys. I'd like to know from both of you guys. How do you
was
become
not
a leader?
prepared for this. Yeah, actually, this is for Luke. I want to hear Luke. No, certainly, I think that two very important things that Luke referred. One is capacity of listening, which is certainly very important for our job, and the capacity of relation with the other people, the way that you develop relations with the other people. That's very important. But if you are honest and you are clear and transparent and you are just a normal person, you are a good diplomat. If you are a good person, you're a good diplomat. It's not difficult. So I agree with Luke and what he said. He has an amazing experience, and certainly because this is an event of Luke, I'm going to talk about him. He has been doing a wonderful job in Australia since he arrived, and putting countries together, which is very important for Fiji, for Venezuela, and actually for Australia. Thank you, Paula, but I'm not going to talk too much today. I'm here to hear about Luke.
Thank you, Daniel. So Luke, what skills do you need to have to build strong relationships with people? So from a networking perspective to follow up, do you have any of your internal techniques? Like you say famous leaders like birthdays and you send them a gift or you call them. What techniques have you used over the years to have so many fans? Because everybody is your fan. So what have you done to build such strong relationships? Like, what are the steps that you've taken to build these long-lasting relationships?
Well, first of all, thanks, Daniel, for those kind words. And you also are very effective representative yourself. So a real pleasure to be working with you here and your colleagues in Australia. But perhaps three things I would say in response to that, Paula. One is just being diligent in what you do. Give your best in the work that you do at every stage in your life. And I've learned that everything is connected. What you do today is connected to what you did yesterday and what you will do tomorrow. So if you start to sow the right positive habits and culture, the right attitudes, you'll go a long way. And it's those things that get seen and felt by others long before you make physical contact, I suppose. The second thing is just being open-minded. We learn as we grow. And what you do today may not always determine what you may be doing in the future. But it can certainly lay a strong platform for the dream role or the career that you're building towards. And I think those things come into play when you are looking at connecting with people and networking and relating with one another. So being trustworthy and being a reliable person, that what you say is who you are or what you do. And so having personal integrity. But the third aspect, and perhaps more important, is just knowing your product and what you represent, knowing yourself. And so you become the message and not just the messenger.
Thank you so much, Luke. And Ivan, are you here with us? Because Ivan's running a business that works, I think, quite a lot in Fiji, so he wanted to join and meet everybody. Ivan, are you with us? Renata as well. She's an AE alumni that is very passionate about sustainability and creating an impact in the world. Who would like to ask His Excellency questions in regards to leadership, business opportunities, sustainability, collaboration? Amaranta, any questions? No? Cool. Okay, so if no one has questions, I'm going to go back to my questions then. Oh, what has been your favorite book and why? Has there been a book that shaped your life in another direction, or just validated that you were going towards the right direction?
Tough question. Well, my taste for books clearly have evolved as I grew up. Yeah, adventure stories to crime novels. Currently enjoying reading histories about Fiji. But one book, perhaps, that I read all the time is the Bible. I can't say that I enjoyed or like reading it or understood it early on in life, but I've come to value it more as I've grown up. And it's the one book that has been the constant with me. And I turn to it for guidance in relationship, in friendship, in collaboration, in marriage and just family, but also in society and how it works and nations and issues of sovereignty. It's a fantastic book that has a view on every aspect of life.
And talking about religion and positive energy, you were talking about positivity, and it's really hard to stay positive considering the news that bombards us with non-positive news, because they think that negative news sells more and people start getting addicted to it. How do you keep this Fijian calmness and positivity? What is it that what are your daily habits that you just keep rewiring your brain to stay positive and kind and also calm? Because I'm guessing I saw when Qantas announced initially, like the first government announcement of like first few flights of Fiji. I mean, that's part of your work. How did you stay positive and navigate all of these changes so well, especially over the last 18 months?
Yeah, interesting question, which I was thinking about just coming into this meeting. But I suppose for Fijians, there are two key aspects, not talked about a lot, but vital and perhaps the main grounding for who we are as a people. And one is the culture. Fiji is a very communal society, and not being a big nation with just about 1 million population, we are related to so many people. And so our cultural fabric and structure is a key part of our grounding. But the other aspect is our faith and religion. And it's perhaps an element that lies beneath everything that we do. Different faith, different religions, but faith is a big part of our life. And if I just mention one example, one of our biggest exports worldwide is rugby players and the game of rugby, and seven-a-side rugby in particular, for which we've only won gold medals since it was introduced and included as part of an Olympic sport. But the last 5 months before the Olympics, our national sevens team, both men and women, had to be locked down and stayed away from family in Fiji before the month that they spent at the Olympics. And it took them by surprise because everybody didn't expect that the lockdowns would happen. The two things that kept them grounded and sane and in lockup by themselves, in lockdown by themselves, was the culture, their friendly disposition and nurturing that, joking, and they get on well with everybody. But the second thing was their faith, so praying and singing songs, and you'd see that in the rugby field. Before the game or after the game, they'd be singing, breaking out into songs. And to me, it's a big part of life in Fiji. And you don't sing, Christian songs all the time. We have other types of songs that we sing in Fiji, and that's part of culture also. But those would be the biggest contributors to Fijians and the unique way of life and what we contribute to the international community.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because we had an interview session with Her Excellency Helen, the ambassador of the Philippines, a few weeks ago. And she asked me permission before going live. She's just like, can I talk about my faith? Because my faith has kept me positive, focused, and kind towards the world. And I think that's so beautiful. And I really hope that no matter what religion, what faith people have, I think it's just so important, especially moments like now, for us all to have a faith. And I've seen people changing the faith, and I always say, like, it doesn't matter what faith you have, just have something. Anything is just so powerful. Have something that you can talk and pray and help you make the decisions, but also have a resilient and positive, caring mindset. So before we finish, one last question. What tips do you have for work-life balance? Because you've got a beautiful family, a beautiful relationship with your wife, with your daughter. So how do you manage it all? How do you tick the box of being a great leader at work for your country, but also at a personal level? Because you need to have all of them aligned, because if one of them unaligns, it will have a side effect on all the other ones. So what recommendations do you have for the perfect work-life balance that everyone searches so much for?
Yeah, excellent question to end off this discussion. For me, it's being the same person at home as I am at work. I don't have a divided personality. The way I treat my wife and children is the way I interact and respect and regard my colleagues and people that I work with. And so I'm not a different person at home that my wife would see or hear about at work. And it's an important part of me. And it goes to the issue of integrity. Who you are as a product, as a person, as a professional is no different wherever you go, and whatever role or position or title you may occupy or have in life. And I think that's a key aspect for success. You grow your skills, you develop who you are as a person, and you expand your knowledge of the world, but also the philosophy that undergirds your work, the ethic that you carry with you is really what makes it a whole holistic package.
Yeah, it's all about being authentic leader everywhere you go. I was speaking to some friends of mine that are very famous Instagram influencers, and they're super authentic, super fun everywhere you see them. And they said you have to be super authentic in any position, because these days, like, there's no point of you going and on the television or Instagram, TikTok, show like you're the funnest person in the world, and then people see you in the supermarket and just go like, wow. Like, I was a lot between Hollywood over in the United States just a few months before the pandemic, and I saw that a lot of very influential spaces, no phones were allowed anymore, because the celebrities were getting caught on camera with the real personality. So most of the places I was going to, like, you couldn't take a phone on. And initially I'm like, what is this? And it was all because, yeah, they didn't want the real side of them to be seen. And imagine living a life like that, where you're different in your house, with your kids, with your partner, or also in the work environment. Thank you, Your Excellency, for making time to be with us. We're so honored. The session is recorded and will be viewed by all of our students around the world. Thank you for sharing your tips around faith, positivity, leadership, collaboration. Thank you so much. This will be priceless and will create a very big impact in the world, because when we see someone like you, for many students, it seems like it's so far. But when we hear your words and your examples of when you were in high school, you didn't know what you were going to do. And it took one teacher to change your direction completely and open these new opportunities. And that's life. You can plan it all, but when we're doing what we love and doing our best and being an authentic leader, doors will open magically, and we'll always find success in whatever way it means to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Real pleasure and joy to be here. And thank you for giving us this space.
Big hugs, and we'll see you in Canberra soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.